Hello， 大家好！今集嘅衝線背後咧，繼續有我同埋澳洲嘅小鮮肉騎師祈普敦啊，同我哋傾下偈嘅。Hi Sam, welcome back.
Thank you, Sabrina.
You were very successful last year with 40 winners.
Yep.
Do you expect that before you came to Hong Kong?
No, definitely not. I didn't have any expectations when I first came to Hong Kong. My only goal was just to work as hard as possible and try and establish myself, and try and get some decent rides. And fortunately, I was able to do that and work up some good relationships with a lot of trainers and go on to have a successful season.
Okay, I know that 16 winners out of 40 were from John Moore's stable, right?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. How do you build up your relationship with him?
I'd never met John Moore before I arrived in Hong Kong. Tommy Berry has obviously ridden a lot for John over the last 5 years, and I'm good friends with Tommy. And when I was coming over, Tommy had a speak with John and informed him that I was coming over and see if he could give me a bit of a chance. And as soon as I arrived in Hong Kong last year, I started riding track work for John Moore, and yeah, he was really good to me. He gave me a lot of good opportunities, and as you say, I went on to ride 16 winners for him for the season, and including a Group 3 winner and I think 3 Class 1s. So we had a good season together, that's for sure.
Tommy Berry is also from Australia, right?
Yes, that's
Can you tell me more about the racing environment, the difference from Hong Kong and Australia?
Yeah, the racing in Australia is probably very similar to racing in Hong Kong. There's a few little differences off the track, but in terms of riding perspective and the racing, it's very similar. It's very tight and competitive, like it is here, and there's quite a lot of Australian jockeys riding in Hong Kong here. So yeah, I think the racing in Hong Kong is certainly very, very similar to Australia.
Is there also a summer break?
No. In Australia, we have our obvious the autumn and spring carnivals, the Sydney and Melbourne carnivals. But in terms of the racing season, there's it's year-round racing. There's no break.
Wow, then that's pretty tiring.
Yeah, it can be. It's a long year, that's for sure.
For both jockeys and horses.
For sure. Good thing in Australia, the trainers, can send their horses out for spells in beautiful paddocks and pastures. So that's one good thing about Australia. But in terms of the season, yeah, it's a long season.
Okay, so can you tell me which is the most memorable race in the last season?
I was very lucky. I had a lot of, fantastic days at the races last season. If I had to separate one, it would probably be my first Group 3 winner on Booming Delight.
Hei Wan Bo.
Hei Wan Bo, yeah. So he was a great horse to me last season. I rode him 8 times for 4 seconds and 4 wins. So if I had to separate one, that would be probably the standout. But I had a lot of great days. I rode Invincible Dragon twice for 2 wins, the Chinese New Year Cup and the Hong Kong Macau Trophy. So, I was able to ride trebles last season, so I was very lucky. I had a lot of fantastic days, but if I had to separate one, it would probably be my first Group 3 winner for sure.
Did you prepare much for the new season, or did you do any training during the summer break?
During the summer break, I did very little training. That's my time for to recharge the batteries, clear the head, rest the body, and and just enjoy not working. I went to Italy with Morgan, and we had a beautiful holiday. Ate some beautiful food. Too much food. So that's my time to just completely rest, but I make sure I come back to Hong Kong 3 weeks before the first day of the new season, and as soon as I come back, I straight into my training, a lot of walking, a lot of running, straight into track work, and really screw down on my diet, and that the weight can fall off pretty quickly in that 3 weeks time. It's very humid and hot this time of year in Hong Kong, as everybody knows. So when you're training outside, you're doing a lot of sweating, and that helps with the fitness come along.
I know that you have been working really hard on keeping fit before the season starts.
For sure.
But that's very fair to have enjoyed all the food and holidays before that.
Well, it's a long season here too. Everybody works extremely hard, and it can be very tiring on the body and the mind. So it's very important to use the off-season wisely and rest up and enjoy all the things that we can't have all year round. All the beautiful food and a lot of sleep-ins, no getting up early and all that stuff. And when you get back to Hong Kong, it's time to knuckle down and we're here for one thing, and that's to perform at the best of our ability. And it's very important to all the jockeys in Hong Kong are very fit, and it's very important to do so because the race meetings can have 10 to 11 races, and it's quite often you'll have a full book of rides, and it's a very long day. So it's very important you keep fit and keep on top of your health and your diet, and it just makes things a lot easier for you.
Okay. So this new season is coming, and we will have 2 new trainers this year, right? Have you already talked to them?
Talked to Frankie quite a lot.
Okay.
He's going to be, a very good trainer here in Hong Kong. He's had a lot of experience, but he's certainly had some good grounding with some great trainers like John Moore and John Size. So there's no doubt he'll do very well. And Michael Friedman's here also, which. I know Michael from back in Australia. I didn't ride a lot for him because he was actually only in Australia after he was in Singapore. He was only in Australia for 1 year before he come to Hong Kong. So, but I know Michael very well, and I'm sure he's going to succeed very quickly here in Hong Kong as well.
I'm sure both Frankie and Michael are going to support you in the coming season.
I've been riding a fair bit of track work for Michael, and I've got a couple of rides for him coming up, and. I've been talking to Frankie quite a lot, so when he needs me, hopefully I can start riding for him as well.
Okay, but how about other trainers? How do you keep good relationships with them?
Yeah, it's very important to spread yourself around, as we've been talking about, and spread yourself around as best you can to all the trainers. And even though I rode 16 winners for John Moore last season, the rest of them were for nearly everybody. I rode a lot of winners for Chris So, David Hall, John Size, as we said, David Ferraris. I could ride a lot. I think there are only 3 trainers that I didn't ride a winner for that last season. So I'll be working very hard to try and ride a winner for them this season. But I did receive a lot of great support from everybody, and hopefully that can continue.
But what do you think is your best advantage? Why do they all like you? Is it your personality?
Maybe. I'm not quite sure. Like I said, my only goal when I came to Hong Kong was to be proactive and work hard, and maybe that's what they like. But I've just got to continue to do that this season, and hopefully the success will continue to flow.
Okay. So is there anything you want to improve in the field?
Always want to improve. I always want to improve my riding. You got to improve here to compete with all the other great riders that are here. The likes of Joe Moreira, Zach Purton, Douglas White. I can continue to ride along. So it's always very important to bring your A game every single race meeting. So if I can continue to improve on my riding, that would be great. With just continue to practice and. Maybe improve on the way how I handle things, be more proactive with owners and trainers, and if I can do that, we should be okay.
Do you ever ask some experienced jockeys for comments, or
definitely,
ask them? Yeah, like who?
Definitely. Nashra Willer was a great help to me when I first arrived. Zach Purton gave me a lot of good advice. Pretty much, I ask everybody. If I want to know something, I'll go up straight up to them and ask them, and that's the great thing about. Racing. If you need help, all you need to do is ask, and everybody's willing to help. So there's a lot of jockeys that have been doing this for a lot longer than I have, and if they have any bit of advice for someone young like myself, I make sure I listen.
Who is your most admired jockey?
Most admired jockey. That's a tough one.
Choose one.
I think what Joe Moreira does here, what does here every year is just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Not only what he does here in Hong Kong, but then travels the world. wherever Joe goes, he succeeds. You know, whether it's Dubai, Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore, he seems to get there and succeed. Doesn't matter what sort of preparation he has. He could fly in a couple of hours before the meeting starts and can ride, you know, 3 winners. So there's a lot of jockeys that I admire for different reasons. But Joe Moreira, I think, well, yeah, like as I said, what he does here is just incredible.
So, what is the biggest satisfaction for you in horse racing?
Oh, satisfaction in horse, probably, obviously, the obvious answer is winning. But you know, I think more so there's so much work that's involved. There's so much work behind the scenes.
Yes.
The form study, the hours and hours of track work, and you know the weight, you know, the fitness, and horse racing is a game where you need a lot of luck. But when you get that luck in a race and everything turns out exactly how it should, and you go on to win, there's no better feeling when you know all that hard work is worth it. So obviously winning is the biggest satisfaction, but there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of hard work behind the scenes.
Okay, last but not least, we always ask our guests, who do you want to thank the most in the horse racing industry?
Oh.
Right, name one person.
Probably my old boss, Ron Quinton. Yeah.
Okay.
He's been I still talk to him once a week here in Hong Kong. He's been a massive, he's played a massive role in my career. I lived with him and his wife, Margaret, for 3.5 years in Australia, and Ron's been a massive influence on my career and my life, and you know, it was very special for me to go on to ride a Group 1 winner for him. So I have a lot of people to thank, a lot of people I owe for me being here today where I am now, but I think Ron Quinton is probably my biggest influence.
I see. Thank you very much, Sam.
Thank you for having me.
It's such a great interview, and thank you.
My pleasure.
Good luck on the new season. More winners, okay? 好開心，今日請到祈普敦啦嚟同我哋分享咗咁多啊！我哋亦都祝佢咧嚟緊呢個馬季咧突破嘅頭馬數字啊！Thank you, Sam。拜拜。